It's 6:30 p.m. and it's been a long day. You just want to get home to your family and watch some TV, but as you approach your car, you see there's another car parked next to yours. It's an expensive foreign car and it's blocking you from opening your door. So you walk around to the other side and try to open it from there, only to find yourself locked inside with 3 armed kidnappers. In today's video, we're going to find out how the CEO of ALDI was carried off and what happened next. And if you like this sort of thing, then please subscribe for more videos about business and crime. On January 7, 1972, Theo Albrecht was leaving work and getting into his car after a long day. He didn't really pay much attention to the details. He put his briefcase in the passenger seat, got into the driver's seat, and started the engine. As he began driving home, he realized that a blue Mercedes 280 was following him. That wasn't too strange. His boss often drove a similar car and would drive him home sometimes. However, as they turned onto a dark road, he realized that his boss was not in the car. He parked on the side of the road and walked to the other car. He tried to open the passenger side door, but it was locked. He thought maybe his boss was trying to play a joke on him, so he walked to the other side and opened the door, and immediately he was met with the barrel of a gun. 3 masked men jumped out of the car and forced him into the back seat. They pushed him down, tied his hands behind his back and gagged him. Then they threw him into the trunk. As they sped away, he realized that he was in the same Mercedes 280 that he had just come from. And when he looked into the back seat, he saw the other car was following them. In fact, the car was so identical that the kidnappers were literally driving his boss's car. One of the kidnappers then got into the front seat and told his accomplice to drive to the first drop-off location. And all Theo could think was, where are we going? What do they want with me? This case became known as one of the most significant kidnapping cases in German history, and the police spared no expense in the search for the kidnapped CEO. But why did these criminals kidnap a successful businessman? Let us take a step back and look at how ALDI became such a powerful force in the retail industry. After World War II, 4 brothers, Karl, Theo, Bartolo and Rudolf Albrecht, took over their mother's small grocery store in Essen, Germany. Soon after taking over the business, they expanded to 14 stores, and in 1960, they split up the chain into 2 separate companies, ALDI and Kaufland. While both chains are still privately owned, ALDI has over 2,000 stores in 18 countries, while Kaufland only has 130 stores in 8 countries. ALDI grew quickly due to its unique business model. Instead of carrying thousands of items, ALDI only carried around 800. This gave them greater control over their supply chain and allowed them to buy in bulk and keep prices low. They also focused on fast-moving consumer goods, meaning that they carried everyday items that customers needed regularly. This created a sense of urgency for customers and encouraged them to visit ALDI stores more frequently. By focusing on a limited number of products and keeping prices low, ALDI was able to build a loyal customer base and expand rapidly throughout Europe. But this rapid growth didn't happen overnight. It took years of hard work and dedication, and by the time Theo was ready to retire, he was one of the wealthiest people in Europe with an estimated net worth of 22 billion euros. But his success didn't come without its enemies, and as the kidnappers drove through the city, they made frequent stops to make sure they weren't being followed. Eventually, they arrived at a house in a remote part of town. They pushed Theo out of the car and into the basement. There they locked him in a soundproof room and left him alone in the dark. The police were still searching for the CEO and had no idea where he was being held. But the kidnappers were growing impatient and wanted to make some money. They demanded a ransom of 1 million Deutschmark, which was the equivalent of $243,000 at the time. This was a huge sum of money, and the Albrecht family was understandably reluctant to pay it. But the kidnappers were not willing to negotiate and threatened to kill Teodoro if they didn't receive the money. As days turned into weeks, the police were still unable to find the CEO, and the family was becoming increasingly desperate. Finally, they agreed to meet with the kidnappers and hand over the ransom. But as they were about to make the exchange, the police intervened and arrested several of the kidnappers. However, they were unable to find Theodore, and the remaining kidnappers managed to escape with the ransom money. The case remained unsolved for months, and the family was growing tired of waiting for answers. Eventually, they decided to take matters into their own hands and hired a private investigator. The investigator discovered that one of the suspects had fled to Spain and alerted the authorities, who then launched a manhunt. The suspect was eventually found and extradited back to Germany, where he was tried and convicted for his role in the kidnapping. But the mastermind behind the kidnapping was still at large, and the police were struggling to find him. Eventually, they received a tip that the mastermind was living in Brazil under a false identity. An international team of investigators traveled to Brazil and brought the suspect back to Germany, where he was finally brought to justice. With the ringleaders behind bars, the police were able to solve the rest of the case and recover some of the ransom money. But the ordeal had taken a toll on the CEO, and he never returned to work. In the aftermath of the kidnapping, the family took steps to ensure that something like this would never happen again. They hired a team of security experts to assess their facilities and develop new safety protocols. These measures included installing security cameras, motion sensors, and panic buttons throughout their stores and offices. Additionally, the family worked with law enforcement officials to improve their response time in the event of a future kidnapping. These efforts proved to be successful, as no major incidents have occurred since the CEO's kidnapping. But the incident had a lasting impact on the company's culture. The family implemented a policy of never discussing sensitive information in public or on unsecured phone lines to prevent future kidnappers from learning their tactics. They also created a crisis management team responsible for handling any future incidents quickly and effectively. These protocols have become standard practice for many businesses and are credited with helping to prevent similar incidents from occurring elsewhere. But the CEO's kidnapping wasn't just a major event for ALDI. It also had far-reaching implications for the retail industry as a whole. In the wake of the incident, retailers across Germany began investing in security measures such as surveillance cameras and electronic article surveillance tags to prevent shoplifting and other forms of theft. Additionally, the case led to calls for stricter laws and penalties for kidnappers and terrorists. The German government responded by passing legislation that increased the maximum prison sentence for kidnapping from 5 to 15 years. The legislation also made it illegal to demand ransom payments in cases of kidnapping. While the CEO's kidnapping had a profound impact on the retail industry, it also had a personal toll on the CEO and his family. After the traumatic experience, the CEO became increasingly reclusive and rarely gave interviews. He passed away in 2014 at the age of 87. Although the case was never fully known, it's believed that the stress and trauma of the kidnapping contributed to his health problems and ultimately his death. In conclusion, the CEO's kidnapping was a major event that had far-reaching implications for the retail industry and the CEO's family. While the case was eventually solved and the perpetrators brought to justice, the CEO never fully recovered from the traumatic experience. His death in 2014 at the age of 87 is believed to have been caused or contributed to by the stress and trauma of the kidnapping. The case remains one of the most significant in German history and serves as a reminder of the importance of workplace safety and security. But what do you think? Was the CEO too trusting, or were the kidnappers just too clever? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe for more videos about business and crime. And if you want to learn more about ALDI, then I highly recommend the book Behind the ALDI Billions by Vanessa F. Bien. Thanks for watching.